How do we get here? I know that this is probably a rhetorical question, but I think this is really important. And women need to begin to become very vocal and raise future generations, encourage the present, but raise future generations to change their mindset. And I'll say it's this: women were programmed to abdicate their power to men for a variety of reasons. And all of it was truly a scam because we are where we are, looking at children being unalive just so people can own weapons of war, looking at a world full of war, ruled by capitalism and exploitation at every level. There is no reason right now that people cannot have a place to stay, basic necessities, a place to stay, food to eat, and etc., and the help that they need to pick themselves up. They don't have, and the reason why they don't have the communities that they need that would enable them to live their best life and the life that they're really willing to go after is because we've all bought into the scam. Many women have fought the scammery over time, the misogyny, the patriarchy, and they fought it in various ways. And many women didn't have an excuse but to submit to it. Couldn't have a bank account, all of the nonsense that history has recorded. But now we need to shuck that stupidity off and take that back, because if people really understood why capitalism is so trash right now and isn't being implemented in its best form, it doesn't stem solely from the relationships between men and women, the patriarchy and the position of women in society, but the fact that it hasn't been implemented in a more healthy human focus and best life manner. It comes from the lack of women's ideals for how society and community is to be built. It comes from that. It stems out of this scarcity mindset that everyone's been programmed to have, that the world can't produce enough and that only a few people at the top deserve because they're the hardest workers, which is a lie. It's a scam. White supremacy within and of itself is a scam built upon that same logic that we must perpetually exploit. And the white supremacy within and of itself is built on the fact that there are certain groups of people that must be exploited because those people are the problem. And all of this division, although men aren't the sole cause of it, they were in control of the societies that implemented and built up the world in its current manifestation. And all of this really is, and I will argue till the day I die, it's kind of like how people say that everything's a simulation. I think it's because people within their own selves and their spirits are recognizing that the lies that we've all accepted as true are just lies. And that those lies are so false to their own spirit, their own soul, that they see it as like not real. And that the reality in which we live is just the manifestation of a simulation. But the truth is that the reality that we're experiencing is one that's based upon psychotic lies that are it's like I always call capitalism a suicide pact with the ego, to self-unalive the person who buys into the system because of the fact that, well, we can just look at what we've seen in the past couple of weeks, how capitalism, when we base our lives upon it and we base our lives upon this logic that people have to be perpetually oppressed in order for society to function properly, and that men need to be, and minimally melanated mediocre men need to be at the head of those societies, all of that logic, it creates a sick society that is provoked to perpetual self-unaliving because it's so unbalanced. And so women must take their throne. I will argue this till the day I die. Women have to take their throne back, have to take their power back. And then they have to say, I really don't care what my father said. And that's going to be hard for some women. I really don't care what my father's father taught and what my church says, because Christianity has a strong foundation in patriarchy, misogyny, and the exploitation of the other. And we see that not just in the context of the enslavement of people of Africa, but we also see it in the enslavement of women. I mean, the fact that the misogyny and the patriarchy was folded into the Abrahamic religion shows the cracks in the foundation of it that has really the influence of the Abrahamic religions have created the sicknesses that we see in society and the unalivings that are going on. But I digress. We as women have to take back our we need to begin to see ourselves as the apex. Men cannot reproduce themselves. They will die out if we aren't here. If men, and I struggle. I don't want to make the argument that I was about to make, which is say men don't have the capacity or the emotional intelligence, but that's a lie. Men do. Men are taught to not have emotional intelligence. They're taught they're taught to stifle their spirit, themselves, and their true selves, and to let that go, to abdicate their position and who they really are for a mental framework that puts them in a prison instead of gives them sort of the level and the freedom to self-express for who they are. But this has to change. This has to change, or humans don't have a future. They don't. Until humans stop dehumanizing each other and self-conceptualizing, like believing that they have to dehumanize the other and that they have to make other people suffer in order to prevent their suffering, which is what capitalism does. Is it puts people under the mindset, that scarcity logic I was talking about earlier, that they have to kill or be killed instead of give birth to the dreams of the future that they want. Instead of doing that, it teaches them to have that hunter or the hunted, be the prey, or be the one who is preying upon the other. It teaches them to get stuck in that mindset. And see, women who must birth, who must protect the continuity of their own, not just their own bodies, but of their children's lives, we have to think differently. And so that's why it's so important. That's why I'm passionate about this sort of rebirth of who and what women are in the earth. And that's why I feel female leadership is so important, because the kind of leadership that we've had for hundreds and even thousands of years has created a world that's more focused on oppression, subjugation, exploitation, and the unaliving of others, so that a very select group can be at the top and to live worry-free because they have all the resources. So, how did we get here? we're gonna have to do the same thing that was done to us to future generations, which was to program them. All of this is programming. It's all the adoption of lies so that women could be controlled. And so the only way out is the way we got into it, which is to re-educate the present, and then to educate and raise leaders, both male and female, and however you manifest, they, them, or whatever, to see the importance of women, the importance of the divine feminine, and the importance of a society that is ordered around birthing and creating life and the manifestation of a future that one has dreamed of. Because the only way to bring a manifestation of a better future is for us to dream about it, us to create it, and for us to build that. And you cannot build that in a world that's full of war, rumors of war, lies, patriarchy, misogyny, and full of death cults. Man, that's a whole other video, but I've gone on long enough. Anyway, I'm excited.